Hi, I'm Tamsin Silver. I am one of the authors with Falstaff Books, and today I'm going to be reading to you from Chapter 9 from the first book in the Untold Legends series called The Curse of Billy the Kid. The scene is one of my favorites because I hadn't planned to write it. Isn't that how it goes? I knew that Billy and Ben needed to get the ammunition from the Ellis store. And the Ellis store is at the far end of this 1 mile S road that is the main part of Lincoln. So Ben and Billy have to get the ammunition from the Ellis store all the way down to almost the far end to the McSween house. And so that's the reason the title of the chapter for 9 is The Dangerous 1 Mile Ride. And like I said, I hadn't known what I was going to write for this, which is probably why I enjoy it. So anyway, give this a read. Thanks for joining. We shall go. Winchester on my lap and eyes peeled for wolves. All was fine until we reached the Juan Patron store. That's when I felt a tingle go up my spine and I cocked my rifle. Ben noticed the change in my demeanor immediately. Problem? Not sure. Feels wrong. Pick up the pace. Not so that we draw attention by the townsfolk, but so that we're not sitting ducks out here. Ben urged our horse, who barely picked up any speed at all, until she heard a howl that cut the night air clean through. Pulling on a bit of my soul energy, the world brightened in my eyes and I scanned the area. Because of this, it didn't take long to spot who was watching us. 2 wolves running along beside us in the shadows. I was about to give orders to Ben when they bolted out onto the road in front of us, causing the old mare to rear up, kick her front feet into the air, and charge toward them. Stunned as I was at the horse's reaction to 2 wolves in her way, I was even more shocked when the 2 wolves split, one going left and one going right. The furry beast closest to Ben jumped up to take a snap at him, and I pulled the trigger on the Winchester. The sound could have woke the dead and likely would cause ringing in Ben's ear for a week. "Oh my God, did you get him?" Ben shouted. My vision sharpened without my need to pull on the reservoir of my soul energy, and I wasn't dizzy. "Injured him, didn't kill him. Hurry up. Like you gotta tell me twice." He snapped the reins and Mabel picked up speed, a determination in her countenance. If they were gonna come in close, I needed my pistols. I cocked my rifle and set it down at our feet, since Ben's was already on the long seat and the barrel behind me. Pulling on extra energy to flood my system for steadiness and strength, I stood up and pulled both 6-shooters. "They're running along both sides, Billy. What do we do?" Ben yelled as jaws kept snapping up at him, luckily just missing. "I know, just drive. Don't make any sudden movement that'll put you in the way of a bullet." A wolf leapt up to get Ben, and I shot, hitting the creature in the head. "No sudden movements? You're funny. You know we have a crazed horse, right?" The full weight of the wolf's life force hit me, and I almost lost balance and fell. Shit. Racing down the street, I got my bearings and decided I'd only fire at the wolves who got close. There were now 3 on my right and 2 on the left. One jumped into the bed of the wagon. I fired at him, and he dodged, my silver grazing the wolf behind him that was still on the ground, putting a hole through his ear. They were fast. I had to be smarter or we were dead. With my next breath, I shot from each weapon. With my outstretched arm, I fired directly toward the beast while I waited a count and shot from my second gun, aiming to the side. As I hoped, the wolf focused on my primary arm and dodged that bullet, stepping into the path of my second, taking that bullet in the chest. The wolf's eyes went from brown to glowing a copper color. "That's new," I muttered and shot again, catching him in the leg, causing him to jump out. I now used 4 of my 12 shots, so I had to make my last 8 count. Sure, we had 2 rifles, but these guys were up close and personal. A loud shot fired, vibrating behind my knees. I turned in time to see a wolf's head come clean off his body and fall lifeless onto the road. That's when I realized Ben had shot his rifle from the seat where I sat. "He was about to take your ass," he explained. "Thanks," I yelled over pounding hooves and the growling of 3 new wolves that had joined the party as we passed the Torion. "It's not even a full moon. Jeez!" I shot, killing the next wolf who got close. This time, I sat down before my head did a loop-de-loop. "Hang on," Ben yelled as he directed the horse to make a sharp right just as we passed the McSween house. Pulling her to a stop, I leapt down, grabbed my rifle, and turned to see not one furry bastard. I glanced at Ben, standing on the seat, rifle in position. "Where'd they go?" he asked. "Hell if I know. Come on, let's get this stuff loaded into..." "Could you two be any louder, both of you, coming down the street like drunken hooligans?" came a female voice from behind us. Turning, we saw Mrs. Susan McSween holding an oil lantern, her dark hair piled high, still wearing her traveling attire, gloves and all. "Ma'am, you should get inside," I said. She walked toward us, eyed the covered contents of the wagon bed, then her gaze met mine. "I certainly will not go inside, not until you tell me what in blazes you're doing riding onto my property like hell is on your heels." She sat the lantern on the seat of the wagon. "And give me that before you shoot a passerby, for God's sake." She grabbed my rifle, and for no reason I can fathom, I let her take it. "Well, we sort of did have hell on our heels, ma'am," Ben said. "Whether these wolves and..." I cut him off before he said too much. "Just 2 of nature's creatures, Mrs. McSween. They spooked the horse and us just a bit, if we're to be truthful. Took a shot or 2 as they ran off. We apologize if we disturbed you. To be honest, we didn't know you'd returned from Missouri." "Just got in a short bit ago," she said, walking past me to stand on my left, her eyes again flitting to the lump of things under the blankets in the wagon bed. "Found my husband gone to who knows where, and a letter. I'm hoping you can explain some of this to me." Susan had been gone to see family since before John's murder, so there would be a lot to cover and many lies to tell. I saw a long night ahead of me and was prone to a grumble until my stomach did so instead. "Dear heavens, I could hear that from here. When did you eat last? Never mind. Seeing as Alex took both servants with him, I'm sure my sister or I can fill your belly for your time and information. What are you unloading there, and where does it need to go?" Her dark eyes bore into me as she raised an elegant eyebrow. "I'll explain inside. First, we should get you and these inside, away from the Murphs," I said, using the word Charlie had made up. Ben jumped down from the wagon and pulled the blanket back, saying, "It's just some..." A wolf, smaller than most I'd seen, leapt out from under the blanket at Ben. I pulled my revolver and was about to fire when a loud blast went off and hit the animal in the head moments before his jaws would have sunk into Ben, who had frozen in fear. Turning to see who'd taken the shot, I found Susan with my rifle raised up, perfectly poised in firing position. Ben and I just stared at her for a moment. "Silver?" she asked. I nodded, for that's all I could seem to do. "Good, then that's done. Let's move your..." "Ammunition, ma'am," I squeezed out, voice a bit higher than usual. "Let's move your ammunition inside. And don't dawdle. I'm not saving your ass from another one of them bastards tonight." I watched Susan's tall frame walk into the house and questioned everything I knew about the woman. How much did she know about this world? Why did she know? And what the hell was I going to do about it? End of chapter 9. Susan McSween and the Man from England is chapter 10. Anyway, thank you for joining me for hearing a part of The Curse of Billy the Kid. Please join me again as I read other pieces from the series. Again, this is Tamsin Silver. Thanks for joining me.